Welcome to Decoded Daily. This deep dive is brought to you by Idea Data. Today, we're going to be looking at the future of cities, and specifically how mind-blowing innovations in drones and AI are going to be shaping urban life as we know it. I think it's going to challenge a lot of our preconceptions.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about just how fast technology is changing the urban landscape. What we used to think of as science fiction is becoming reality. Self-driving cars, smart buildings. It's like all this cutting-edge tech is converging.
Yeah.
And it's really going to redefine what it means to live in a city.
Yeah, it's like stepping into a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
But it's happening right now. And, one of the most exciting areas, I think, is drone technology. We're all pretty much used to drones delivering packages, but, their potential goes way beyond that. I was reading a story from Virginia Tech about students developing a water sampling drone. And that's just one example of how drones are being used for environmental monitoring. And it's so much safer and more efficient than traditional methods.
Absolutely. Can you imagine a city where drones are constantly monitoring air quality? And they can detect pollution hotspots in real time, or even drones inspecting bridges and other infrastructure for problems so we can fix them before they cause safety issues.
That's incredible. It's like having all these little robots working to keep our cities safe and clean. But, it's not just about monitoring. Drones can also be used for active intervention as well.
Exactly. Think about using drones to fight fires in those huge skyscrapers, reaching places that would be dangerous for firefighters. Or how about delivering emergency medical supplies to areas that are hard to reach? That could be life-saving in disaster zones.
It's insane to think how these drones have gone from these simple flying machines to these super sophisticated tools that could do these really complex tasks. And it's not just drones that are revolutionizing our cities. I was looking at this Forbes article about CIOs and their role in this whole digital age. And it talks about how AI and robotics are really changing the game for businesses. And I was thinking these same trends are definitely shaping the future of cities as well.
Right. AI is already being used to optimize traffic flow, manage how we use energy, and in some cities even predict crime patterns. And as this AI technology gets even better, we can expect even more applications that'll make our cities even smarter.
I was reading about how some cities are already using AI-powered cameras to watch traffic congestion, and they can adjust traffic signals in real time to keep everything moving smoothly. It's like a giant brain managing the whole city's transportation system.
And how about the possibilities for improving public safety? AI can analyze all the crime data and spot patterns that humans might miss. That could help law enforcement allocate their resources better, and even prevent crime before it even happens.
It's crazy to think how AI can make our cities not just smarter, but also safer. But with all this technology, it's important we don't forget about the human element. We don't want to end up living in some dystopian city where machines control everything.
I agree. The goal of using technology should be to make life better for everyone, not to replace people entirely. We have to think carefully about how to integrate it in a way that benefits everyone.
I think the 2024 Paris Olympics were a good example of using technology in the right way. They used it to create a more sustainable and accessible urban experience for everybody.
Yeah, the Paris Olympics were like a testing ground for urban innovation. They used everything from smart traffic management to reduce traffic jams to these new accessibility solutions.
Yeah, they had this whole network of sensors to keep track of crowds, to avoid bottlenecks and direct people. It's like a real-time experiment in how people move through a city.
And don't forget about their waste and recycling management system. It really cut down on the environmental impact of the whole thing. It's a good model for how to make cities more sustainable with technology.
So from drones monitoring our environment to AI making our traffic flow better, it's pretty clear that technology is changing our cities in ways we couldn't have even imagined just a few years ago.
Absolutely. And as these technologies continue to change, we can expect even more changes in the way we live in our cities.
It's a really exciting time to be alive, and it's amazing to watch our cities become smarter, more sustainable, and more connected. But there's still so much more to learn. This is only the beginning.
It's amazing to see how technology isn't just changing the physical look of cities, it's also changing their economies.
Right. It's like we're seeing the birth of a totally new kind of city, one that's powered by data and all about innovation.
Yeah, and this article from the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation really got me thinking. It's about the U.S.-India Subnational Innovation Competitiveness Index. And it talks about how some regions in India are really excelling in globalization, especially things like foreign investment and high-tech exports.
So it's not just developed countries leading the way. Emerging economies like India are becoming big players in the global tech scene.
Oh, absolutely. Those regions are attracting a ton of investment in AI and renewable energy, and that's fueling their economic growth and driving even more innovation.
So what makes certain cities successful in this digital age? What makes them attractive to tech companies and investors?
Well, having a talented workforce is key. Cities with good universities and a strong tech community have a big advantage, but it's not just about the number of engineers and scientists.
Right. It's also about creating a culture of innovation where people can think creatively
Yeah.
and take risks and work together across different fields.
Exactly. Cities that encourage new ideas will attract the best minds, and that leads to technological progress and economic growth.
You know, this Fast Company article about leadership and innovation made me think about the role of city leaders. It uses OpenAI as an example. They had a brain drain where a lot of their top people left.
Yeah, OpenAI shows the challenges of managing rapid growth and how hard it is to keep a strong company culture in a fast-paced industry like AI.
It seems like a reminder that building a successful company, especially in AI, takes more than just being smart. You need good leadership, a clear vision, and you have to navigate all the ethical and societal implications.
Definitely. And I think those same ideas apply to cities. City leaders need to have a plan for how they want to integrate technology.
Right. They need to think about how to use technology to improve people's lives, while also addressing concerns about privacy, equity, and sustainability.
Hungary's approach to AI regulation caught my eye. They were at the China High Tech Fair in Shenzhen, and they're pushing for a risk-based approach, meaning regulations should depend on the specific risks of each AI application.
That makes sense. I mean, the risks of AI in healthcare are very different from the risks in advertising.
Exactly. A one-size-fits-all approach could slow down innovation. We need a more flexible regulatory framework, one that allows for experimentation but also protects against potential harms.
Some people think we're regulating too early, while others say we're not doing enough.
It's a tough issue. It's about finding a balance between encouraging innovation and managing the risks.
Right. We need rules that encourage responsible innovation, but also protect against misuse.
And it's not just about regulations. We need to create a culture of ethical AI development, where companies and researchers prioritize transparency, accountability, and human well-being.
You know, this Brookings Institution article about the potential impact of a Trump presidency on tech is interesting. It explores how political ideologies shape tech policy.
Yeah, it suggests that a Trump administration might focus on deregulation and promoting American dominance in technology.
It also talks about how political ideologies influence specific areas, like blockchain and digital currencies. It shows that technology isn't immune to political influence.
Definitely. Different political views can have a big impact on how technology is developed and used. We need to be aware of these dynamics and have open discussions about the values that should guide tech development.
The intersection of technology, economics, and politics in cities is fascinating.
Yeah, it's clear that the future of cities depends on how technology evolves. And we need a multifaceted approach to navigate this complex landscape.
We have to consider the technical aspects of innovation, but also the economic, social, and political impacts.
Right, and we need open conversations about the values and principles that should guide our choices about technology.
From encouraging innovation to creating thoughtful regulations, we can shape the future of our cities for the better.
It's remarkable how far we've come in just a few years. What used to be science fiction is now part of everyday life. And as we go forward, we need to approach these advancements with a sense of wonder and critical thinking.
Let's shift gears and look at education, a sector that's absolutely crucial for the future.
It's really interesting to think about how these technologies are not only changing how we teach and learn, but also making education more accessible and empowering a whole new generation of innovators.
You know, I was reading this article about NIU and how they're giving out grants for curricular innovation. It talks about how professors are using technology to create these really dynamic and interactive learning experiences, moving away from those old school passive lectures.
Yeah, it's about moving away from just feeding students information and instead getting them to actively participate in learning, using tech to explore, experiment, and even create their own learning materials.
The article even mentions things like virtual reality simulations. Think about stepping into a history lesson and experiencing ancient Rome firsthand, or using interactive software and AI-powered chatbots to give students personalized feedback and support.
It's like turning the classroom into this engaging and immersive space where learning is tailored to each student's individual needs.
That focus on personalized learning is huge in educational technology right now. I was reading an article about the winners of their Education Innovation Awards,
Mhm.
and a lot of them are using AI for just that personalized learning.
There was one project that used AI to help kids learn to read with these personalized stories that are adjusted to each child's interests and reading level. And another winner created a digital platform that maps out custom learning paths for students based on their strengths and weaknesses, making sure they're challenged but not overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how technology can create learning experiences that are not only effective, but actually fun and engaging. It's all about making education relevant and accessible for everyone, no matter their background or how they learn best.
And speaking of access, there's this great article about tech hubs in Africa that I think you'd find really interesting. It highlights how technology is empowering communities across the continent, particularly when it comes to education.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. It's inspiring to see how these tech hubs are providing training, resources, and mentorship to aspiring entrepreneurs, many of whom are creating innovative solutions to local problems in education.
Exactly. They're building online learning platforms, developing educational apps, and giving people in remote areas access to digital resources, places where traditional schools are hard to come by.
It's a powerful example of how technology can break down barriers and create opportunities for learning and growth, regardless of where you are or your economic situation.
And it's not just about getting information, it's about giving people the power to create and innovate. These hubs are fostering a real culture of entrepreneurship and equipping people with the skills they need to shape their own futures.
It's been quite a journey. We've explored so many amazing innovations in this deep dive, drones keeping an eye on our cities, AI personalizing our learning, and so much more. It's clear that technology is playing a bigger and bigger role in shaping our world.
It really is. The speed of all this innovation can feel overwhelming sometimes, but we need to remember that we have the power to steer these technologies in a direction that benefits humanity. We live in a time of incredible technological progress, and it's up to us to use these innovations for good.
I agree.